Is this your mother?
Yes.
What did she do?
She was a surgeon in Portugal.
What kind?
Eyes. We used to do dissections together.
What happened to her?
I remember I was fascinated by how the inside of the body looked. She always hoped I would be a surgeon one day.
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Ben, Christy, Alonzo. It's December, it's Christmas time, so of course you want to see a movie about mutilations. I'm talking, of course, about The Eyes of My Mother, Spirit Award nominated, and it's opening today theatrically, or this week theatrically, and streaming as well. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's kind of a weirdly quiet week this week, although we're deep in the middle of awards season and important stuff is coming out. But this week is kind of quiet between Jackie and things to come. And
All the giant Thanksgiving stuff is still carrying over.
Moana will be the juggernaut out there again. But this week we have this really deliberate, is the word I will use to describe it. It is really specific and deliberate and really meticulously crafted little black and white horror film called The Eyes of My Mother. I'm going to totally mangle your name, young woman who was the star of it. I am apologizing in advance. Kika Magalhaes? I'm going to go with Magalhaes. If I'm wrong, please tell me. I know you guys will tell me if I'm wrong. So she plays the older version of a woman who, as a little girl, went through this horrible tragedy. She lives in a farmhouse with her father, and it might be the 50s. I kind of suspect that it might take place now, and they're just stuck in a time warp. I'm not sure, but it might take place in the 50s in this very secluded farmhouse. This tragedy befalls her, and it's how she grows up and tries to function in her own screwed up way
She lives
through
with
the
both her
prism.
parents, right? That's and
She does.
yeah.
Her mother was a surgeon. I'm trying not to give a lot away here, Ben. Come on, help me out. Anyway, tragic, horrible things happen, and she carries that with her throughout her life, and it's how she then deals with people. Take a look.
Chorarei meu triste fado, que em tão dura paixão me sepultou, que morrer não seja dor, que me deixou o tempo, que me deixou o tempo, que meu bem desenganar.
One thing I liked about it, as you mentioned, mutilation. It's not. It is surgical mutilation.
Oh, well.
Because her mom was a
Forgive
surgeon.
me. Right,
her
her
mom
mom.
was an eye surgeon
Right.
back in Portugal who taught her about eyes and death, hence the name Eyes of My Mother.
Yeah.
So, thoughts?
So it's really. It is very precise. This movie is really carefully constructed. It is for a first film. If you're giving the award or a rating just on how is your first film, it's a 10.
Yeah.
Because it's conceived and planned and structured and then executed, right? So the only issue for me is, and I don't often say this, but I reserve the right to say it sometimes, is why? And are we better at all as a world for having this movie under the very low standard that, look, any art helps a little, right? So that's my bar, and I'm still asking the question about this movie.
It does kind of call up the thing of yes, you did exactly what you wanted to do. Should you have done it?
Right, yeah.
Well, you know what? It is really gruesome and it is really unsettling, and it's crafted in a way that brings you in tonally in from the very, very beginning. But what I took from this, more than the fact that it's scary and bloody and disturbing, is it's really about loneliness, and it's really about sadness and how this girl struggles to connect with people. the way she does connect with them is a little fucked up, but she.
Well,
she's
how the
still
trauma
messed up.
and how the trauma and loneliness together is a toxic brew.
Yeah, I walked away feeling so terrible for this character, and just she's all alone and does not know how to connect with people at all. And the choices that she makes in the name of trying to connect with other people are so sad. And there's one scene in particular where she makes an unlikely friend, very briefly, and the awkwardness with which she conducts herself in trying to just get to know another person, it just broke my heart. So yeah, it's a really screwed up little horror movie. It's bloody and disturbing, but I also thought it was really sad.
But because you mentioned mutilation and you mentioned how bloody, it's not grotesque or bloody in the way you normally think of a horror movie.
True.
Like there aren't moments of like where you have to look away.
It's not Herschel Gordon Lewis.
It's not splatter.
It's black and white, and much of the blood most of the blood you see is in cleaning up. Like there's a fair amount of cleaning blood, and that happens a lot. That suggests the things that may or may not have happened, and you're never entirely sure what happened and when it happened
To certain people.
to certain people in this movie. Yeah,
We were having lengthy discussions
Yeah,
about
for you. Nicolas Pesce.
Pesce,
I wanna say,
yeah. That's I mean, for a first film, I think very assured, and
Yeah, really.
if Blumhouse or whoever is smart, they will snap this guy up, because I think he's got a vision and he's got things to say, and he knows how to competently put together a really unsettling horror movie.
Yeah, it's very ambitious artistically.
Yeah.
I would say. I mean, from the first couple of shots, like there's an overhead shot of a truck and a truck driver, and there's great care and craft and daring beyond what you might expect from a first-time filmmaker. So I liked it. It's a screwed up little movie.
Yeah, here's the thing. Before we go to the numbers, and I'll just because I thought about it last night. I saw it late last night. And thought about it before I went to bed, and struggled with that decision of like, why? What do we need this for, right? It's this level of being disturbed. And then, of course, but I hadn't talked about it. And my numbers are always affected by how into talking about it I am, because it suggests that if I'm really into talking
You're
about
thinking
it,
about
I'm
it,
thinking
yeah.
about it, and then it mattered more, so I have to raise my number.
But now we're talking about this.
Now
Is
we're
how
talking about
persuasive Alonzo
that's right.
and
No,
I are.
and then it comes to me
Right.
like, okay, look, it's just a movie. It's okay. It's like not like so. I'm just going to take it up exactly one, which should be easy. So
Should it?
Yeah. So I gave it I'm giving it a 7.2.
Yeah,
which will
I'm
raise
giving it
it.
7.2
So raising it
also.
0.3.
Okay, so
All right.
6.9 now is our number. All right, we'll
Sure.
do
I'm
yours.
6.5. I think it's a solid piece of work. I question some of the the driving forces here, but this guy knows what he's doing, and he did what he wanted to do for sure.
Oh, sound design also. Very effective, very disturbing, visceral sound design. As you mentioned briefly, a lot of what happens off camera, which I also appreciate as a narrative choice. He doesn't show you everything. You see the aftermath. You
makes
sometimes
it
hear it.
scarier, yeah.
You hear things more than you see them sometimes. So our number is a 6.9.
Actually, our number is a 7. It rounds to a 7. So let's give it the 7.
7! Woohoo! It's 7 now.
Yeah.
And it's at 79% on the tomato meter. So I think this is stream.
Super.
It is streaming as well.
Magnet.
Yeah.
76 minutes. It's going to be.
It's really short.
It's going to
Yes.
be on iTunes. Yeah, it's super quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and black and white. It's really. It's again. It'll stay with you. You'll be talking about it. You'll want to get 3 friends together and 5 cameras and talk about it.
We have 5 cameras. We
Yeah.
are a real operation here. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.